states that a conditional use granted by the Board of Supervisors automatically expires without written notice to the applicant if no application for an occupancy permit to commence a use or no building permit to undertake the work described in the decision granting the conditional use has been submitted within 12 months of said decision, unless the board extends the period upon a written request of the applicant prior to its expiration. So this expired back in May 7th of 2019, and no application was submitted prior to that expiration, no occupancy permit was granted, and no construction was undertaken. So my client also appealed a building permit, which was granted by the zoning officer on February 11th, 2020, because that building permit was granted in violation of the ordinance because there was no conditional use approval in place at the time. So that matter then went to the zoning hearing board. The zoning hearing board found that the time limitation in the ordinance was acceptable, but it was told by the litigation. So you'll see from reviewing the ordinance in front of you, there's no tolling for litigation. The only tolling of the statute is if it's asked for prior, if an occupancy permit is granted, or if construction has started. None of that is applicable here. So the zoning ordinance, or the zoning hearing board, essentially wrote in a new provision into the zoning ordinance. They relied on a legal treatise, which is Ryan's zoning. So if you'll flip to Exhibit 4, I've kind of printed out the section of that legal treatise.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
I hate to see you go through all of this because, quite honestly, this is an argument that needs to go before a court, not our board. The zoning hearing board made a decision and wrote that specifically the board concludes that the appeal is timely, but the conditional use approval did not expire pursuant to section 403H of the ordinance prior to the township's issuance of a building permit. Also, on September 22nd, 2020, the zoning hearing board issued a written decision denying your Sluciak's appeal. And so we're, whether or not all of this other stuff that you're kind of walking through is relevant isn't for us to decide. We are required to follow what our zoning hearing board has said, which is that the conditional use did not expire and that Sluciak's appeals is denied. So there's really not, like, I understand all this and I understand what you're saying, but it needs to go before a court.
And so we have filed a land use appeal, which is what's marked as Exhibit 5 in your packets. I just wanted the board to be aware of the fact that the zoning hearing board doesn't have the authority to write in a provision into the ordinance, did that within their zoning hearing board decision, and we are appealed that.
Right,
so
I'm sure you're aware, the zoning hearing board is a quasi-judicial body, totally separate from the board of supervisors. So we can't, as board members, say, hey, we don't agree with your decision, we're going to overturn it here. We can't do that, and I think we can't do that. So I think at this point, we have no choice but to grant the, well, I guess we could deny it, but we have the decision whether or not to grant the extension or deny it, but not based on any of this, based on the facts, because it is timely, based on the zoning hearing board's decision of both denying appeal and that, that it did not expire.
Okay.
So I just want to save you some time, like, from walking through all this, because unfortunately it's not information that we can actually consider.
Okay, but we just want to continue to say our objection to the extension.
Right, and honestly, you may go to court and they may agree with you, and that's fine, but we are limited in what we can actually do for tonight.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, just very, very briefly, I'm Robert Ratcher, I represent Crown Castle. I just want to say that all the arguments that are being made here, they have 2 cases in court against us right now. That's the forum for those arguments. So,
right, we are, which is what I said.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
And they're going to have every chance to make them, and if they make them and what they're saying is correct, then we won't be able to build the tower, we'll have to tear it down.
Right.
So.
Whether I agree or disagree with what they're saying, I can't change what the zoning hearing board has already decided.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So with that being said, is there a motion to consider the request to extend the time period to 12 months?
I'd like to make a motion not to give them the extension.
Not you, that could, yeah, you can do that. Is there?
I make a motion to deny the extension 12 months.
Is there a second? So there's not a motion to grant it, and there's not a motion to deny.
No, the motion does go after the second.
Right, but I had asked first if
Motion to
there,
approve the extension.
and I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. No.
Passes 4-1. Okay. Moving on. 198-2020, consider the written request of Tax Development LLC to extend the time period for the conditional use approval of the barn construction behind Sarah at 414 Morganza Road for an additional 12 months pursuant to section 403H of the Cecil Township Unified Development Ordinance. The current approval expires on August 3rd, 2021. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. No.
Passed 4-1. We're on. 199-2020, consider accepting the resignation of Mariah Nelson from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes. Everybody said aye, right? Sorry. Passes 5-0. 200-2020, consider the minutes from Monday, October 5th, 2020, Cecil Township Board of Supervisors regular monthly meeting. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
No second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. 201-2020, consider the minutes from the October 20th, 2020 special meeting of the Cecil Township Board of Supervisors.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 202-2020, consider the general fund invoices from October 1st through October 31st, 2020. I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.